Peace, peace, happy now. Now is a vibrate, of course. We're not going too far in the future, not going too far in the past. Right now, Happy New Year's. That's the little thing right now. But just it's just kind of just shooting from the hip on this one, so to speak, as far as just sharing on the vibe something. Source was telling me to just open up on a New Year's situation. As a matter of fact, well, one thing even starting off with where I was I was feeling the vibe of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make this video, and then I gotta hurry up and make sure I could upload it, before January 1st. But then I thought about it, and I'm like, that in essence it not say it defeat the purpose of the message, but it's like the whole thing that I'm, speaking on and dealing with New Year's is that it's not like the actual New Year's. So it's like, oh, well, damn, you're right. You don't have to, like, speaking to myself, I'm like, yeah, you don't have to forcefully make sure you drop it tonight. Like, tomorrow is cool. Shit. And I made a video earlier when that was earlier this year. Technically this year going in, because another thing too to remember that the dates of like 2019, 2020 is all based off of a character who didn't really exist. The Christ energy is real. The Christ energy exists in all of us, and it really shows itself in those of us who realize it, recognize it, and activate it within ourselves. Christ energy also kind of coincide with activating our DNA and raising our kundalini. Secreting that Christ seed, all in the pineal area. But where was I? I was speaking on like with the Christ energy. No, I was speaking to something else. I was talking about holidays. Oh dang, it's gonna come back to me. Matter of fact, I should spark up. Wait. But just basically, it was something else I was saying. Well, anyway, just back to the main thing. This is not really the New Year's, Oh, that's what I was talking about. Like with BC and being 2009, like that date, 2019, 2018, all this. Now what's uncoincidental is that source allowed for, say for instance, the reason why Europeans, certain amount of Europeans was allowed to be able to oppress and push all this, miseducation and all this misinformation, I should say, onto people, because it was a part of what we signed up for. That's another reason why I realizing that I'm gonna have to put this out. Realizing that it's more of an internal battle than an external battle. Now, when I say that, some people, if you're in that vibe of like being overly active or feeling like you have to be overly active, you may take that as me saying, oh, don't be active, like just worry about what's going on inside you. I'm not saying that, but it is because everything is a balance. Of course you're gonna take external actions, but again, it's not taking external actions and looking at like, all right, the only way to fix this world is if I go up against the government and try to, like, no, it's about being the change you want to see first and foremost. And as you be the change you want to see internally, you're going to start to take actions that's just going to be in alignment with tearing down anything unrighteous, because you tearing down the unrighteousness within yourself. So it's only going to project outwardly from there, and you're going to be inspired to take action in alignment with the change that's going on inside of you. Not like, oh, I'm up against it. Like, because even with, like, me speaking on the agents in Los Angeles, let's say, for instance, like how CIA agents running around all over the place. I'm still not taking it to a place where I'm like, when I'm in LA, like, oh, I wonder if that person aging or like, like now I'm living, you know what I'm saying? I'm just acknowledging it and being aware of it, you know what I'm saying? Knowing what's going on around me. I'm not sitting around there chasing these people where like I'm doing what I gotta do, you know what I'm saying? I'm being the change again, being the change I wanna see going inward, you know what I'm saying? Dealing with the energy and then it externalize outwardly, But again, April, when things spring, you know, Aries, head first, you think about the ram, you think about the head, you think about the Lamb of God that take away the sins of the world, from the Christian aspect of them speaking on it, But that Aries energy is that beginning, and it's no coincidence that an Aries symbol also look like some like a fallopian tube, like the ovaries and the vaginal canal, you know. But it's like, spring when things are born, like out of all the and just common sense, like say for instance, imagine for a second you wasn't taught by the school system. And this how you learn how to just, on your spiritual growth. This is something very key right here when I'm this little scenario. But again, like look at it as if you weren't taught by your parents and society that this is the new year. Like just fall back for a second and observe the four seasons. Observe what we call a year. Observe the four seasons, but more so just observe the four seasons. You got I won't even say them in order like that. You got summer. You got fall or autumn. You got winter, then you got spring. Now, out of those four, you know, out of those four seasons I just named, which one, again, just being open minded, not looking at the one that they say starts the year off, just eliminate, and not even looking at I'd be saying that April and spring, kind of just remove yourself from all of that. You just want to be dry with objectivity and your own just inner guidance and quote unquote common sense. Like which season would you think would be the one that would represent a beginning? You know, would it be winter, uh, when actual leaves falling off of trees, plants are kind of dying and dwindling, or like some plants actually die, some plants actually kind of just go inward on some hibernation vibes. But again, would it be that winter time when things get cold and frigid and it's less daytime, you know because again it's also connected to sun worship too, but scratch that out of there again. Winter, you got the fall when the leaves are starting to fall from, you got the summer, where basically, just sun, hotter weather, more daylight around that time. The plant life is out, but it didn't just start sprouting out, but it's out, out and about. Then you got spring, when plants start, coming out of that winter, that death of that winter, aka winter solstice, death and rebirth. We're coming out of that winter solstice, going into the springtime, and which I want to say if it's called the spring equinox, but I'm not sure. I know you got the fall, with Libra, but you get to the spring, and that's when plants start to grow. Things are being born. You know what I'm saying? It's like a beginning. You know, it's a beginning of things. You know what I'm saying? Like again, of plant life being born. Where it is in the wintertime, it's less of things being, but of course, on the human level, we being born, of course, like that don't stop us. May slow us down though when you think about it, but won't stop us. But you know, in the wintertime, it's not no plants, nothing is beginning. Like And on all levels, you just look at it and it's like, all right, out of all these seasons, again, spring seems to be the one that deals with things having, where life is sprouting out and things having these new beginnings, aka spring cleaning to a certain extent, like starting the year off right, by cleaning up, cleaning out, spring, spring into action, like kind of like a New Year's revolution is us, like, what we're gonna spring into action about, the spring. And I already kind of spoke to, with the April Fool's thing, it's almost like saying, hey, you fools, this is the real New Year's, And now they actually, because that's what I did my last video on, I think how, Easter end up being on April Fools to also kind of, again, so it's kind of being facetious about how, like, Easter is not like a real holiday for the rabbits and stuff like that. Of course, we deal with that, again, that spring energy, but, you know, what was I gonna say? Yeah, but not on a level with no Easter bunny or none of that, you know what I'm saying? So that was pretty cool that April Fool's Day and Easter lined up last year. And again, if I didn't say this already, the reason why January, they consider, January as the beginning, for one, we dealing with people who are Saturn worshipers. That's why, Ashkenazi Jews, worship uh, Saturn Day or Saturday, as their Sabbath, that's connected to Saturn, and they walk around with the black box. The black box also, is six-sided, you know, and six-sided meaning, it's like a hex, you know, and we also have 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons, and carbon, you know what I'm saying? So the 666, that Saturnian energy, and they worship that. Not only that though, but also dealing with the fact that the quote unquote New Year where they got it now is is lined up to is lined up with the timing of when the star Sirius, the sun, and planet Earth is all in alignment with each other. That's what they base the Gregorian calendar off of, and more so to kind of just see when the great old one's gonna come back, because we connected with the star Sirius, so it's basically like trying to basic. And that's why I tell everybody every single thing they do is to try to keep the melanated people, because and it's a thing too, because this is a reason why too the focus is on the highly melanated people, and it's a situation like, again, where it's just bodysuits, and the beings who have the ability to be the most psychic, to be some of the most athletic, and people that like, as I think about even with sickness, where in which, again, remembering that the melanin energy, again, and we just say melanin for lack of a better word, has a certain little connection with the universe, and it is the universe in essence. Again, like carbon, melanin, that's just all 3D words we give it, you know what I'm saying? Just basically a bodysuit with a connection to the universe, stronger and bodies with less of this little chemical, we'll just say the less of this element, So if I'm a person trying to oppress, like, and just keep control in general, if I'm trying to keep control over people, and again, and without even looking at it as a race thing, it's like I'm gonna come at the people who have the ability to be, psychic, and the people who have the ability, what I'm saying, to to really take me off my, what I'm saying, off of my little standpoint. I'm gonna come at those people who bodysuits have those stronger abilities. And again, this is not for a person to feel superior or inferior, and again, just because like the visibility of the skin melanin is not necessarily a representation of melanin being present in a person, you know what I'm saying? Again, because there's neuromelanin, and somebody could be as white on the outside as You know, snow, somebody could be black as a tire. You know, it's all about if you activating it or not. If you acknowledging your indigenous, you know, connection. Are you acknowledging your connection to the ancestors and, you know, your DNA lineage and connection to the stars and knowing that you're more than just a human, you know? Like it's about, you know, honoring that. So again, they constantly, you know, shape everything around worrying about, you know, keeping melanated people down for that reason. In essence, you know, it's like because you know that really keeps the whole situation at bay. If you're keeping that one of the stronger elements, you know, that could really help kick the shit in the ass. And then it just go by default, you know, collateral damage where everybody end up getting oppressed. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, again, the Gregorian calendar, you know, for them to follow when this activation is going to come around, you know, and also to just throw off things as well, you know, to do their own little science and to throw off ancient science. And again, with it being 2019, you know, again, before Christ or after that, you know, there never was a before Christ or that, like, you know, it never was an actual crucifixion. The World's 16 Crucified Saviors by Kersey Graves is one of the books that, you know, amongst just going into the literature in general and just realizing, hey, you know, when you look at all these different places, that there's the same storyline that existed 16 times previously. You know what I'm saying? So either 16 people had the same exact life, basically. You know what I'm saying? In a synchronized universe where we come down here to have unique experiences. You know, here it is, we come down here to have unique experiences, but 16 different people had the same exact life. And I'm just saying it to be facetious, because again, you know, that story of quote unquote Jesus, you know, which is a picture of Caesar Borgia, one of the Pope's sons, or nephews. But anyway, you know, this is all where I was headed. Oh, just with the years and stuff again, just made up to the, you know, when somebody history only come from about 2,000, 3,000 years ago, you know, the only way to you know, to have history is to start creating and changing shit up right now, you know what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of that, you know, on a psychological level, you know, of just like, it's almost like, you know, like a baby trying to, or a youngster trying to create his own, just like we are as teenagers, you know, how we are as teenagers trying to find our way, you know, through the, you know, through life. You could think about like that aspect of you know, the Europeans coming in later and just trying to, you know what I'm saying? And again, this is a, a situation for us to have experience, you know. We in another dimension or another realm, it could be beings that's the color silver, uh, being oppressed by some beings that's the color. You know, it's just different storylines, you know, for us to learn soul lessons. And not just for that too, because it is a part of the aspect, well, yes, we are guys that have been trapped. Like, you know, we are primordial, you know, primordial beings, you know, primordial beings from the primordial mother of source, you know, that have been duped and lied to, you know. But that's the whole situation again. Just me running it. I just caught again that I'm talking about New Year's, and matter of fact, speaking of it, you know. Good time to light them candles. Papa Legba Shay. Got my Papa Legba candle. Matter of fact, sage in my crystals. Because matter of fact, we can make this quote unquote New Year's, December 31st, New Year's Eve. We could turn this into the pre-New Year's, start getting things ready to really, set things up for April. And again, this is a situation where too, they're still gonna have some energy. Like the fact that the whole collective, like almost everybody on this plane of existence, treat this like it is the new year. It's gonna have a certain strength of manifestation. With it. Just like for the example of like or well, I was gonna say like somebody trying to do like some magic in front of somebody. Like, and I say magic, but somebody got the ability to fly. Let's just say, if they're around a bunch of people who don't believe it, like, and just can't fathom that that is real, it would be harder for that person to, deal with their ability, due to the overbearing energy of non-belief, compared to being around some people who truly believe. Then it and which is a symbiotic relationship, like people who, like, say for instance, that person, say for with the ability to fly, if he happened to be around, or he or she happened to be around a bunch of people that don't believe that they could do it, that's because internally they don't believe. Like, there's a little doubt within themselves, and they manifest those onlookers who are non-believers due to their own inner doubts, on a deeper, true level. You know what I'm saying? But again, just for the in the context of what I'm talking about, like what the collective energy, really amplifies. So with everybody considering this New Year's, it's gonna have again a certain little energy to it. But April Fools, April Fools. This is really New Year's. April Fools. April 1st. It's kind of like the New Year's, and to be real technical, it may not even be April 1st. You know what I'm saying? But springtime. Let's just say it like that. Like the New Year, it's when the spring actually kicks off. Not in the midst of winter when things are dying. To be born, or reborn in the spring. Again. What makes a little more sense, again, if you just remove yourself from all the teachings, I mean, all of them, even from me saying that April is the new year, like, again, just taking yourself aback and looking at the different seasons, which one would you think would be something that's like the start of like something, you know what I'm saying? Like a new year for life. Like, what I'm saying, plants coming up for the first time, sprouting. Now it's like a new year, like, oh, yay, So again, matter of fact, got my little cigar to smoke. Connecting. And remember, when dealing with, Risha's Lawas or any of these deities, energies, gods, these are representations of energies, and again, that exist within us, especially all old souls, because old souls, we are primordial, beings that predate the gods that were created by the humans here. You know what I'm saying? There's another reason, again, why it's a parasitic, like you allowing like a parasite to take you over whenever you're being governed by anything externally, because you existed before. Like, now you kind of, again, that's like as above so below, like a guy giving in to its lower nature or human self in essence, or like me, like if I was to, with anything like us giving into vices and stuff like that, and letting it control us instead of us, dealing with it. The fall, the great old ones, the titans that got locked up by Zeus, Kronos, Saturn, Sirius, Tiamat, Lilith. Lilith was the, Adam's first, before that primordial. Tiamat, turned into, you know, Tiamat dealing with the sea, but turned into a serpent to save her consort. I think his name was Apsu or Apnu. And I got a video about this when I talking about the primordial mother and the set energy and the serpent Kundalini, but again, that primordial energy, reawaken. Like now's the time to, even in spirituality, like even with me, again, now's the time, like shit, question the shit I say in my videos, you know what I'm saying? Of course, like without a doubt, and I said this before, I'm gonna say it right now, you know what I'm saying? Like now's the time to really be being guided by our, inner guidance and, less external influences guiding our subconscious, you know. But again, this is just the New Year's before the real New Year's. It's like a the pre-game. This is what this is. We're gonna start calling January 1st the pre-game, for that spring. But that's basically it. And that's another thing too. Now is the vibrate. We in the moment, we should be always constantly, growing or looking to grow and expand in the moment. So it should never have to wait to like New Year, like, oh yeah, next year's gonna be. No, right now, starting right now is gonna be great. Start from this moment, Now is the vibrate. Start from this moment on, Oh, next year. Nah. Next year gonna turn into next year, to the point where you spending your whole life saying next year gonna get better and everything's still basically saying the same. And again, like, it's time, like the universe making us walk it like we talk it. It's time to be more authentic, be true to ourselves, We're gonna fall face first trying to be somebody we not. It's being our greatest version, and it's to the best of our abilities, and it's about being authentic. And it's a growth, somebody busting some fireworks. Or busting a gun. Matter of fact, y'all, stay safe. Like I know y'all will. But, yeah, that's basically it. Expanding that comfort zone, that's a constant growth, every moment. I think that's it. The pre-game. And I kind of left off of that note just to recap too, again, when we're dealing with, Are you afraid of the dark? Papa Legba, you know, I mean, Orishas in general. I was about to speak on myself dealing with Papa Legba. It's starting to cut up now. Like, again, realizing these energies exist internally. Like, I saw like, since I was small, I done said it in, multiple, I think, matter of fact, and for sure, pretty probably brought it up in the video where I talked about AI, like Allen Iverson connection with Papa Legba, and number 3. You should definitely check out that video. But like, I've been seeing connections to Papa Legba ever since I was a little, ever since me was a youth. When I youth them, when I see the sign, all the sign them. But like, from my favorite color being black and red, the number 3, like it, liking the number 3 and dealing with AIs, all kind of other connections. My mama nicknaming me, calling me old man when I was a youngster, like all kind of. But happy pre-New Year's. Peace. Happy now the vibrate. Oh, look, I'm praying. That herb. Now's the vibrate, of course. Not too far in the future. Not too far in the past. Right now.